Hello and welcome to Searching for Service, brought to you by Rotary District 5950 and 5960. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Chad Larson.
And I'm Joe Kirk.
And before we dive into who our guest is today, Joe is going to remind us of the show's purpose.
Yeah, the show's purpose is as Rotarians, we're all very hell-bent on service. And what we wanted to do is design a show that would reach current Rotarians and future Rotarians about service. And, Rotary has many types of different kinds of service that we partner with different groups, and we have different types of service that comes organically through Rotary. And we just really, at the end of the day, want to have great people on, like John, like we have today. We're really excited to have you on, and tell great stories and really get people energized about serving their communities.
In more ways than one.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Local and abroad.
Local and abroad. And so Joe did give us a little sneak preview of who our guest is today, but let's officially introduce him. We have Jon Cermin, who is a media producer. His company is Jon Cermin Production Incorporated. Welcome, Jon. We're happy to have you.
Thank you for inviting me.
We really like to take this first segment of the show to get to know our guests and help our listeners get to know you a little bit better. So my first question, I'm sure that the guys will have questions too, but my first question is, where are you hailing from? Are you here in Minnesota? Are you somewhere else in the country?
I'm actually in Wisconsin. I'm right on the border with Minnesota and Wisconsin. And most of my work, a lot of my work is in the Twin Cities area, although I do work all over the country and all over the world. I've shot projects in all 50 states and over 24 foreign countries. In fact, I'm going to Zimbabwe next Thursday for a project.
Beautiful.
Wow.
And fellow Wisconsinite.
I'm from. Asking that.
Always nice to come across a fellow Wisconsinite. So.
How long have you obviously been doing this for a long time to get to all those places? What got you started?
I always loved telling stories, and I especially loved telling stories with pictures. I found out when I was a young kid, I got a little Instamatic X15 Kodak camera, and I took a bunch of pictures, and people, would kind of say, "Oh, this is cool. This is a great story that you've made with these pictures." And so I went to school and got a master's degree in radio, television, and film, and over a number of years. And then I started working at a little media company out in Jacksboro, Texas. I was raised and born in Texas. And from there, I went to work for Flight Safety International. I did aviation training videos for the military and corporate aviation. And then I got hired away by a teleproduction company in Dallas, AMS Production Group. And I worked there for about 7 years. And then in 1991, I started my own business, Jon Cermin Productions Incorporated. And I haven't looked back.
And the rest is history.
Here we are.
Yeah, I do broadcast projects, I do corporate projects, and I do ad agency projects.
What brought you to the Midwest?
My wife. I married under
I've heard that a few times.
Yeah.
Sucked me right in.
When we got married 28 years ago, I knew that we one day would be up in Wisconsin, her old hometown of Dresser, Wisconsin, and I knew that as long as there's a large metroplex nearby and a good airport, that I could pretty much work anywhere. So that wasn't a problem.
And so where is the nearest metropolis area from you?
We are 50 miles from Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Oh, okay.
Taylor's Falls.
Oh, you said Taylor's Falls. I'm sorry.
Well, St. Croix Falls and Taylor's Falls, it's kind of synonymous.
Aren't you
Yeah.
You don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know all of the cities and towns in Wisconsin.
Well,
but yeah,
everyone
sorry, I
knows
missed that.
Yeah, everyone knows where Taylor's Falls is, but
Yes.
nobody knows that across the river is St. Croix Falls. So
Yes.
That's
Yep.
funny.
there you go.
Have you done work? Are you a Rotarian up there, or you just
I am a
work?
Rotarian.
Yeah.
Yep,
Cool.
I am a Rotarian. I've done a number of projects for Rotary, pro bono stuff, and then this by far is my largest project to date.
Wow, very cool.
The show
Very
could
cool.
use a pro bono project.
Well, one of the things I learned from owning a business is pro bono spawns more pro bono.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. That is very true. And so, can you share real quick what the project is?
Do you want the 30-second version or the 10-minute
Let's do 30-second version, because then we're going to really dive into it here in these next segments.
Drones will soon be require a new rule in the United States, which will ground probably about 1 million drones. From attending a Rotary meeting in Lviv, Ukraine, back in March, I learned that they can repurpose drones by putting a thermal imaging camera on them, and they can detect landmines using a drone. So I'd like to see us repurpose our obsolete drones here in the United States, collect them through all the different Rotary clubs organically across the United States, send them to Ukraine, and then let the Rotary clubs there disperse them to the cities that are in need of landmine detection.
Very cool. Before we dive into that in the next segment, I got a question. You said you went to a Rotary meeting in Ukraine. How many different countries have you visited Rotary clubs in?
Yeah.
Do you always go visit when you're
Yeah,
international?
we've been to a meeting in India. We've been to Ukraine. We've been to one in Germany, Belize. I can't think of all of them, but quite a few.
But
my wife and I travel together with this mission group and medical mission group, and so whenever it's possible for us to do this, we do visit a Rotary club. And I have to give a shout out to our friends in Belize. The Rotary club there basically facilitates our medical mission trip, and if it weren't for them, we would not be able to do what we do.
That's incredible. So that was going to be one of my questions. Was it just happen chance that you were in Ukraine for this Rotarian meeting, and then all of a sudden this is how you found out about all of the stuff that was happening?
Yeah, no, we were there for a medical mission trip to do cleft lip and palate surgeries and to teach at the medical school and teach at some of the hospitals, some of the surgeons in our group. And so I work half time as their media director, and so I always record all the goings on, and I come back and I do the storytelling and documentation of the trips that we make.
That's really neat.
Cool.
Tell us your favorite story of one of your service trips, and maybe one of the best stories that you've got. Just kind of a random. It doesn't have to do with the drone project or anything like that.
Gosh, I've got a million stories. Are you looking for a service above self?
Sure.
Kind of deal?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the biggest one I think is the Rotary Club in Belize, because there are about 12 active members, and they have helped to literally build this hospital through Rotary projects. They are always fundraising in this tiny, tiny town of Orange Walk, Belize. And again, we've been partnering with them for 26 years to do these craniofacial camps where our team comes and does cleft lip and palate surgeries and ear reconstructions and a number of other plastic surgeries. But we would not be able to do it if it weren't for the support of the Rotarians. They provide our transportation in country. They are constantly bringing food up for all of our meals and snacks and beverages and just whatever kind of support we need. And it's just 12 people. And then likewise, the International Lviv Rotary Club, the one that my wife and I attended in Lviv, Ukraine, it has about 12 members. And last year, Ukraine was given, I think it was $13 million in aid through Rotary International. And of that $13 million, this one club got $1.1 million because they do so many incredible projects to help the people in the war effort in Ukraine. So again, you don't have to be a giant club with 200 people. That's two examples of two small clubs with 12 people that are moving mountains. It's just amazing.
And that right there is the very power of Rotary. It does not matter, like you said, the size of the Rotary club, and it's just what kind of impact do they want to make, and how hard are they willing to push to make that happen.
When you go and visit the clubs, you're shooting and trying to tell the story on top of just visiting often.
Right, yeah. If I would have thought about it, I could have had some images from the Rotary Club in Lviv that or the Rotary Club in Belize, where I could have shared screens with you, but
we'll grab. You can send them after, and we'll try and put some stills on. So yeah, we can add those in, and people will be able to check them out. And that could be cool to see, because I'm sure that's part of, as you told us, the storytelling, and that's what you do. So we'll definitely link some and put them up, because I think we'd be pretty interested to see. With in Ukraine, how is that a big city? I'm not familiar with it, or is it more rural?
Lviv is, gosh, I don't know the numbers, but I would say probably Lviv in the greater area is probably about 1 million people.
Okay.
So it's a fairly sizable town, and when we got there, we got an app called Air Alert, and Air Alert basically lets you know when there's incoming missiles or drones or bombs, and it tells you to seek shelter. So it's kind of interesting. You checking into your hotel, and we stayed at a really nice hotel in Lviv. And, you get your keys and they go, okay, and now we're going to show you where the bomb shelter is. Wow. I mean, that's kind of something that is not a standard procedure.
No, it's not.
And the week before we were there, 6 people were killed in a missile attack. And people were like, wow, well, weren't you concerned about that? And it's like, well, that's like saying 6 people were killed in a missile attack in Minneapolis yesterday. Yeah. That wouldn't keep me from going to Minneapolis, because it's just got to be your day, to get hit like that. But
oh, God.
we get, my wife and I continue to get the alerts, even though we're not in country, because our friends are there, and we want to share their experience, and that's our opportunity to pray for our friends whenever we get the Air Alert. And I got one just this morning. We get them about 2 a day almost.
That's wild.
Well, that'll be a great way to segue into our
next
We should launch into our next one.
Yes, wow, pun intended.
Sure.
As a reminder, you are listening to Searching for Service. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Chad Larson.
And I'm Joe Kirk.
We'll be back.
Rotary is a place for all community-minded people who want to serve their areas with the support of an international organization. Join Rotary to find service. Join Rotary to find inclusion. Join Rotary to find leadership. Join Rotary to find fun. Join Rotary to find friendship. Join Rotary to find a better version of the world. Find a Rotary Club near you at rotary.org and click on Club Finder. There is a club out there for everyone. Find your fit with Rotary. Rotary.org.
Exciting news for Minnesota Rotarians. A Rotary International site review team is visiting the Twin Cities for 3 days. That's because we're under consideration to host the worldwide 2029 Rotary International Convention. So let's unite and showcase the spirit of Minnesota and our Rotary enthusiasm on Wednesday, September 27th at the Nicollet Island Pavilion in Minneapolis. It's got the best views of Minneapolis bridges and the skyline. There will be hors d'oeuvres, a cash bar, and live music from one of our own, St. Paul Peterson, who is the president-elect of Rotary Club of Edina. Registration is $25 and can be done through your own club or district website. Plus, there's plenty of free parking. Again, that's Wednesday, September 27th from 6 until 8 p.m. at the Nicollet Island Pavilion in Minneapolis. Come early at 5:30 and help greet our guests. So wine, dine, and mingle with visiting international, state, and local dignitaries on September 27th as we push for Minnesota to host the worldwide 2029 Rotary International Convention.
For decades, eradicating polio worldwide has been Rotary's cornerstone cause. We are incredibly close to ridding the globe of this virus, but we need everyone's help to get us to the goal. World Polio Day is October 24th. Please consider making a new donation to Polio Plus or increasing your already generous giving. Go to endpolio.org to be a part of this historical eradication of polio. You will help get vaccinations to the most remote parts of our world and help fulfill a promise we made to end polio now. 2 drops and it stops.
Are you ready to make a difference in your community? Rotary is a great place to get involved in your community and meet passionate groups of people, as well as individuals dedicated to service and fellowship. At Rotary, we believe in the power of teamwork to bring positive change. As a member, you will have the opportunity to participate in exciting projects that address local and global challenges. From supporting educational initiatives to environmental conservation, we tackle it all. Joining a Rotary Club means becoming part of a diverse family of individuals who share a passion for giving back and having fun while making positive impact. With projects and events that enrich your community, there's something for everyone, from local initiatives to international collaborations. It doesn't matter what culture or country you come from. What matters is that you want to belong to a group that strengthens communities and creates lasting change. There's a place for everyone at Rotary, regardless of age or background. Learn more by searching for a Rotary Club in your community and visiting. Together, let's make a difference. Rotary, people of action.
Hello and welcome back to Searching for Service, brought to you by Rotary District 5950 and 5960. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Joe Kirk.
And I'm Chad Larson.
As a reminder, you can find us on your favorite podcast platforms, and
we love 5-star reviews.
Like, comment, share it.
And you can find us by looking up Searching for Service on any of the platforms.
We're doing it. We're doing it.
And we like to play musical chairs.
We like to play musical chairs.
Switch microphones.
If you are tuning in for the first time, we have Jon Cermin on, who is a media producer and owner of Jon Cermin Production Incorporated. So this last segment, we dove into who is Jon Cermin and got to know him a little bit better. And this next segment, we're going to really dive into what is the purpose of having Jon on this show. There's a big purpose, actually. And so, Jon, would you please share with our listeners, we gave them a little bit of a preview in the first segment about some of the drone stuff that you're focusing on, but let's give them a little bit longer briefing on that.
All right, thank you. So my wife and I were in Lviv, Ukraine on a medical mission trip back in March of 2023. And whenever we travel, we always try and visit a local Rotary Club. So we went to the International Downtown Lviv Rotary Club, and we were very welcome there. It was a very small group, but we had a delightful time with them, and we're just blown away with the things that this tiny club has done. And during the course of the meeting, someone commented that a 17-year-old high school student figured out how to put a thermal imaging camera on the bottom of a prosumer drone and map minefields. Ukraine has been very heavily mined. Ukraine is has more landmines in it than any other country on the planet Earth, including Afghanistan. And one of the NGOs that does mine clearing and just finished clearing Croatia after 30 years of mine clearing has determined it'll take about 737 years to clear all the landmines in Ukraine. Now, we're not talking about landmines in strategic locations along military lines. The Soviets left them everywhere. They're in farm fields, they're in front yards, they're on the side of the road. They are everywhere because they want to deter the Ukrainian people from coming back to their homes and their villages. In fact, one of the gentlemen that I was on a Zoom call early in this project with, his friend went back to his home to just check on things because the whole village had to be abandoned when the Russians took over, and his leg was blown off in his front yard by a landmine. And he had no idea that they would have gone that far into these communities or into those areas. But the landmines are called double tap mines, meaning the second person that steps on it is the one that trips it. And the purpose for this is not only to injure people, but to injure the people who come in to rescue the people. And the mines are meant to maim you, not to kill you, so that you become a drain on the local medical industry and the national health industry, as well as you became a drain on society because you've been injured. So landmines are a terrible thing. And again, they're everywhere. It's keeping people from going back home. And there's got to be a better way to clear landmines. Again, they expect about 737 years to clear all the landmines in Ukraine.
It's just wild to think that it would take that amount of time, but it's understandable if you've got them all over the place.
Right. And I could tell you some other stories that these people shared with me, but I know that we're under a time constraint of 8 more minutes. So, anyway, if you like, I can get to the point of what we're asking for.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's chat about it.
Okay. So on September 16th, the FAA rolls out their remote ID project, and remote ID it's a law, and remote ID basically states that every drone in the United States must be equipped with remote ID. If
John,
it's not equipped,
sorry to interrupt you.
Yep.
Will you tell us why the drones are important first? You're talking about the drones, but how they can clear them with the drones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, make the connect. Yeah.
Tell them a little bit about
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I've told this story so many times. I forget what
we talked about it earlier, and I'm like, that's a cool
So-
point and an important
so
one.
basically-
Sorry.
The student figured out that they could put a thermal imaging camera on the bottom of a drone that basically sees heat. And so in the cool of the evening, he goes up over these fields and looks down on them. And of course, these drones have very, very accurate GPS locating. And he can take a photo of a field, and everywhere where there's a metal mine, that mine will glow in the ground. So you see all these little dots all over the ground, and each one of those is a landmine. And with the mapping system on the drone, he can be accurate within 3 centimeters of each drone. So no longer do they have to go in manually and sweep them with magnetic detectors by hand. They can hand somebody this map, and then they sync up the GPS coordinates, from the corner of the field or the corner of the road or whatever, and they can go in and know exactly where every mine is in that area. And then they can, quickly, or not quickly, but it's quicker because they're not searching for them. They know exactly where they are, and the team comes in to dispose of them. So when you've got that many mines, they need every resource they can get to find the mines so that they can be deactivated. And the drones will do that.
Sorry, so I wanted to make sure that was a big. That's pretty cool.
So while this is this is all coming to fruition with this high schooler who has figured this out over here nationally or domestically, I should say, we have on September 16th. You were saying. Actually, I'm just going to let you take it away because I'm not going to be able to reiterate it like you could.
So actually, it was the kid from Ukraine that figured this out.
Right.
It wasn't someone in the U.S. Yeah.
Yeah.
So on September 16th, every drone in the U.S. will be required to have remote ID. And as a side note, I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but I teach a Part 107 commercial drone class at the University of Northwestern St. Paul. And so I'm very familiar with all the rules. I work very closely with the FAA in vetting my materials, and every now and then I have a conversation with their guy to, for specific questions or whatever. But anyway, the point is, if you don't have remote ID, your drone is illegal in the United States on the 17th. And remote ID is a radio transmitter that shows other aircraft. It shows air traffic controllers, and it shows law enforcement what the exact location of the drone is and the exact location of the operator. And this will help the FAA crack down on illegal drone operations, which there are very, very many. And so, again, if you don't have that, your drone is garbage. It's useless. You cannot take off in the United States on September 17th if you don't have remote ID. So this is going to render probably between half a million to 1 million drones obsolete. I have 3 of these Phantom 3 drones. None of these have remote ID, and all 3 go in the dumpster on the 17th because I can't fly it legal in the United States.
Okay.
So my thought was, well, why don't we collect and repurpose these drones for landmine detection in Ukraine? Well, the problem with that is I can't send a drone to Ukraine because a drone can be weaponized. This drone will lift about a pound, and a hand grenade weighs about 5 ounces less than a pound. And so that my drone could be weaponized, and the U.S. government will not allow us to ship weapons to Ukraine.
Sure.
So if we could do this as a Rotary International Humanitarian project and guarantee that these drones will only be used for humanitarian purposes only, then the U.S. government will lift that ban and allow us to ship drones into Ukraine for the purpose of landmine detection.
It is just incredible, the connection points that are happening here from you visiting that Rotary in Ukraine, finding out about what this high schooler has done in Ukraine for the drones and the heat recognition and all that stuff, coming back here, I think, and then finding out about all of this that is happening on September 16th and going, well, what if instead of wasting having all of this stuff just go into the garbage, doing this repurposing, and it's just incredible, John. It's absolutely incredible.
Right.
It's so cool too.
And we want to be good citizens. We don't want to fill landmines up or landfills up
You're right.
with plastic, or NiCad batteries, because the batteries become useless too. So it's a great way to repurpose and do something really good for society.
If somebody doesn't know, if their drone is compliant or not, how do they know if what they own is not legal come the 16th? Is there an easy way to identify it?
Yeah, there's the big catch. We don't know. I mean, I know for a fact that because of the date that my drones were manufactured, it was before they started talking about remote ID. I also own a DJI Air 2S, and before I bought it 2 years ago, I asked the manufacturer, will this be remote ID compliant? And they said, we can't tell you if it will or not, but you'll know on the day that it rolls out on the 16th if it is. And so my thought is a lot of these manufacturers have put software in the drones that they can automatically switch on when you download your updates, and it will switch on the remote ID. And no one wants to say that they've got it just in case the FAA changes the parameters or changes something else, because then they go, oh, well, we didn't add that.
Yeah.
And so no one's saying that they've got it, so you won't really know until the 16th when it goes into effect. And there's a possibility. I talked to my FAA friend in their drone department, and I said, is there a possibility that all these drones will be geofenced out of even taken off or grounded electronically? And he said, we cannot ask any manufacturer to do that, but there's always that possibility that DJI might, in their wisdom, say, or automatically geofence you out from even taking off the next day. And I have been geofenced out flying legitimate jobs electronically, so I do know that it works and it happens. So that's a possibility.
It's a possibility your drone just might not work that day, and it's obsolete, basically.
What you're trying to say, too, is all my aerial photography and drone work is going to go up in price.
Yeah, well, also, I got to add this, because I'm a licensed pilot and I'm a teacher. If you are not Part 107 and you're flying and taking photos of things and posting them, you are in violation of a couple rules there with Part 107. There are over 800 categories of commercial video or commercial flight with drones. And as my friend Paul says, it's easier to say what's allowed than it is what's not allowed. And what's allowed is if you own a drone, you can fly it in an air park, that if you belong to a chartered air club or flying model club, and because there's an exclusion for those people, but it can't just be you. You have to be a member of a chartered flying club. Gotcha. And that's the only way you can fly in U.S. airspace.
Well, and John, what else is not allowed is us going over on our segment.
I see the big clock with the big goose egg. Yeah,
we'll make it up. Don't worry about it.
So we'll pick up this convo on our next segment.
Thank you for tuning in. This is Kelly with Searching for Service.
This is Joe.
And I'm Chad. We'll be back.
Of the things we think, say, or do.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Join Rotary to serve your community and the world with honesty, fairness, and goodwill. Our 4-way test guides our actions every day. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? These values underpin our commitment to making a positive impact on the world. Learn more about your local Rotary Club and stop searching and start serving. And the song you're hearing now was performed by Rotary Club of Dar es Salaam, Oyster Bay.
Rotary is a place for all community-minded people who want to serve their areas with the support of an international organization. Join Rotary to find service. Join Rotary to find inclusion. Join Rotary to find leadership. Join Rotary to find fun. Join Rotary to find friendship. Join Rotary to find a better version of the world. Find a Rotary Club near you at rotary.org and click on Club Finder. There is a club out there for everyone. Find your fit with Rotary. Rotary.org
Exciting news for Minnesota Rotarians. A Rotary International site review team is visiting the Twin Cities for 3 days. That's because we're under consideration to host the worldwide 2029 Rotary International Convention. So let's unite and showcase the spirit of Minnesota and our Rotary enthusiasm on Wednesday, September 27th at the Nicollet Island Pavilion in Minneapolis. It's got the best views of Minneapolis bridges and the skyline. There will be hors d'oeuvres, a cash bar, and live music from one of our own, St. Paul Peterson, who is the president-elect of Rotary Club of Edina. Registration is $25 and can be done through your own club or district website. Plus, there's plenty of free parking. Again, that's Wednesday, September 27th from 6 until 8 p.m. at the Nicollet Island Pavilion in Minneapolis. Come early at 5:30 and help greet our guests. So wine, dine, and mingle with visiting international, state, and local dignitaries on September 27th as we push for Minnesota to host the worldwide 2029 Rotary International Convention.
For decades, eradicating polio worldwide has been Rotary's cornerstone cause. We are incredibly close to ridding the globe of this virus, but we need everyone's help to get us to the goal. World Polio Day is October 24th. Please consider making a new donation to Polio Plus or increasing your already generous giving. Go to endpolio.org to be a part of this historical eradication of polio. You will help get vaccinations to the most remote parts of our world and help fulfill a promise we made to end polio now. 2 drops and it stops.
Are you ready to make a difference in your community? Rotary is a great place to get involved in your community and meet passionate groups of people, as well as individuals dedicated to service and fellowship. At Rotary, we believe in the power of teamwork to bring positive change. As a member, you will have the opportunity to participate in exciting projects that address local and global challenges. From supporting educational initiatives to environmental conservation, we tackle it all. Joining a Rotary Club means becoming part of a diverse family of individuals who share a passion for giving back and having fun while making positive impact. With projects and events that enrich your community, there's something for everyone, from local initiatives to international collaborations. It doesn't matter what culture or country you come from. What matters is that you want to belong to a group that strengthens communities and creates lasting change. There's a place for everyone at Rotary, regardless of age or background. Learn more by searching for a Rotary Club in your community and visiting. Together, let's make a difference. Rotary, people of action.
Hello and welcome back to Searching for Service, brought to you by Rotary District 5950 and 5960. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Joe Kirk.
And I'm Chad Larson.
As a reminder, you can find us on your favorite podcast platforms and
Like, comment, share it.
And we're also on YouTube. You can find us by searching for service. No, look it up. But, yeah, you can find us on all the platforms by searching the name, searching for service.
We always have fun with that one. So if you're tuning in for the first time, we have Jon Cermin on, who is a media producer and owns his own company, Cermin Production Incorporated. So we are really we've been doing a deep dive into this drone project, and so.
Okay.
Go ahead.
It's okay. You know, John, something I'm really super curious about is what happens if, for whatever reason, it does not become a humanitarian project. What would you do with drones that you've collected at that point?
That is an awesome question, Chad. And I've thought a lot about that. You know, if this doesn't become a humanitarian project, through Rotary, it's essentially dead because no U.S. politician is going to pick this up and run with it. And it would be literally impossible to get this through Congress without it being a humanitarian effort. So my next thought is we try and contact some Rotary clubs in Poland,
sure,
because we can ship drones to Poland and they can do whatever they want with them. Well, why don't you ship them over to Ukraine and let's use them there? So that's our plan B, is if we can't make it work as a real Rotary project, then we do that. And I don't know that, to be honest, I don't know that we could legally even use Rotary clubs to collect them, because, we've kind of tipped our hand as to what we're doing. And if Rotary International says, no, we don't want to be a part of it, to have a Rotary club, follow through and start collecting drones, we're looking at, big issues and big problems. So it'll make it really, really hard to collect if the Rotary does not accept this as an international project.
But it is so important to get the word out now because, the deadline's soon, and then, you're going to have a lot of people with dead drones.
Yeah.
They're going to go, what am I supposed to do with this thing?
Yeah. And, I pulled all my hair out over this project in the last 4 months. I started this back in April, right after, I mentioned this to them at the meeting in March, and I said, hey, we could do this thing. And they go, oh yeah, let's work on it. And so I've been working on it since April. And first I was having all kinds of problems on the U.S. side, getting any politician to listen to me. And, because they all said it's impossible because you're sending something that can be weaponized. And I said, well, what if we made it humanitarian? Well, yeah, then we can do it. So then we started working with Rotary, and Rotary, the president is very excited about the project, but he needs a letter from a ministry or a cabinet level position in Ukraine saying that they want it. Well, that took 3 months to get. And allegedly this morning, we're going to get that letter, but it has to go to the embassy the Ukrainian embassy in Washington, D.C. to get approved. And then it goes to the president of Rotary a week later. So we're going to be after the deadline by the time Rotary gets the letter. And I get bombarded every day with ads to update my drone because it's going to, if you don't have remote ID, you're going to be grounded.
In violation,
So you best buy a new drone now. Here's a sale we're having. And so, there are drone owners across the United States that are getting these ads. And once they get their new drone, they're going to trash their old one because it is illegal to fly. So I really, really, and I kept trying to stress to my friends in Ukraine, if we get on this after the 16th, we could lose, hundreds of drones every single day.
Right.
And again, I think we mentioned on another segment that, I've estimated that there's between 500,000 and 1 million drones that are going to be obsolete. So, how many of those could we net if we could get this going sooner? But the wheels of government just turn dreadfully slow.
So hold on to yours until you know to throw it away.
Yeah.
Right.
So the message to people that are listening to this is hang on to your old drones. We might have something for you. Ukraine's dealing with literal landmines.
Yeah.
John's dealing with the proverbial landmines of
The
politics.
Bureaucracy. Yeah.
But it sounds like that we'll hopefully have a solution here. But I do applaud you for, I think it's such creative thinking, regardless of outcome. It's such creative thinking and opportunity. Like it meets the opportunity. How often does an entire segment of, something become obsolete?
Right.
It doesn't happen very often. And to be able to repurpose that almost immediately to something that can help humanity and, really kind of neutralize this unthinkable, reality that Ukraine is dealing with.
Well, here's one other thing that might work in our favor. In talking to my contact at the FAA, he said that probably about 50% of the drones in the United States are not registered, which is illegal. If you own a drone, it has to be registered. It doesn't matter if it's a micro drone or a prosumer drone or consumer drone or whatever. Every drone in the U.S. must be licensed unless it weighs less than 5 grams, which, those little tiny toy ones. So he said those people are not getting the ads because they're not registered. And so they're not getting the ads to upgrade your drone. They're not getting the warnings that remote ID is rolling out on September 16th. So they're totally ignorant to all of this.
Yeah.
So he's saying you can still attack that market because they're probably still flying their drones, albeit every one of them's flying illegally. Yeah. But, he said your market's not done on the 16th because there are so many people that are, basically the outliers that don't follow the rules.
So then what does that, how are you going to get the message to these people? across the nation.
Yeah,
being on an awesome show like this.
Yeah, I mean, other than this, right? Because this is a perfect platform to capitalize on that. But other than that,
yeah. So that's a great question, Kelly. So what it would be I'll produce a little 1 minute, like a PSA. We'll roll that out, and this all assumes that Rotary is behind this. We'll roll this out through all the different Rotary clubs, through the Rotary International Organization, and have each club in their own community do a social media blitz through their website, through their local media, through their newspaper, through radio shows, interviews, whatever. And we'll try and do a rollout that way. And who knows? I know some media people. I could probably get on TV in the Minneapolis market. It might get picked up, and we might get some more bandwidth with it that way. But the point is, if we could do it through Rotary, think of how organic it is. I live in a town of 2,300 people, and we've done projects. We've sent boxes of books, or a container full of books, to Kosovo. We've done water projects in Turkey. We've done water projects in India. We've done sanitation projects in Haiti. I mean, we've done all these things, and it's just like there are 14 of us. Right. And so think of how big Rotary is with just a few people. And those examples I gave you on the other segment, where there's 12 people that are moving mountains in their clubs. So, once we roll this out, if we could roll this out, across the United States through Rotary, I think that's the way to do it, because we can hit such a huge, huge market.
Mm-hmm. Has it been in the news much, this coming up? I haven't noticed it, but
there's been
drone, maybe I'm not seeing it,
If you're not a registered drone user, you're probably totally unaware that it's happening. Yeah. I mean, there are so many people that are ignorant of the laws. I mean, when you buy your drone from Best Buy, or pick your big box place, there's a little warning on the side that says make sure you follow all the applicable rules of the Federal Aviation Administration. Well, that basically, what they're not telling you is there's one way that you can fly it without a license, and that is as a chartered member of a flying club, a radio control flying club, in their specific designated space, their specific airspace. Period. You can't fly in your backyard. You can't fly.
I have so many follow-up questions, but I'll save it for after the show, because it's not in any correlation to what we're talking about.
And nobody knows any of these rules. Right. They just go, okay, I'm going to fly safe. I'm good. Yeah. I'll just fly safe.
Yeah. Wow. It's incredible.
There's a lot, with the radio station, there's stuff we have to do with the FAA because of towers and stuff. And I mean, it's technical, and then there's not a lot of resources. I mean, other than going right to the website. So I get it that it's information that doesn't always get out there to the main public.
Yeah, and once you break contact with the ground, you are now in federally controlled airspace, and even if it's Class G, which is where I am, which means there's no air traffic controllers. I've had several jobs where I've had not incidents or close calls, but I was in the middle of nowhere, North Dakota, shooting grain fields for BNSF Railway, and here comes this crop duster zipping through my airspace at 100 feet. Oof. And I was above him, and fortunately I heard him and saw him that I could get out of his way quick enough. But, we're sharing the same airspace. When I was teaching my class in St. Paul, I had a student that was flying, and here comes a plane under the cloud deck, and he was deviating from some rules to avoid. He had to be so many feet below the clouds, but that put him in my airspace, and so you have to know all these rules. There's a reason, and one of these days, I hate to even say this, but some punk kid playing with the drone is going to bring down a medevac helicopter or a police helicopter, and everyone's going to go, "How could this ever happen?"
Yeah.
I've got a friend who flies for the news, and he has close calls all the time with drones. Wow. And every time he does, because he's got that fancy camera, he shoots both a close-up of the face of the drone operator with the controller in his hands and a license plate number, and he turns it all over the FAA.
Yeah, I think that is a perfect way for us to end this segment and roll into our next one. And so, as a reminder, you are listening to Searching for Service. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Joe Kirk.
And I'm Chad Larson. We'll be back.
Rotary is a place for all community-minded people who want to serve their areas with the support of an international organization. Join Rotary to find service. Join Rotary to find inclusion. Join Rotary to find leadership. Join Rotary to find fun. Join Rotary to find friendship. Join Rotary to find a better version of the world. Find a Rotary Club near you at rotary.org and click on Club Finder. There is a club out there for everyone. Find your fit with Rotary. Rotary.org.
Exciting news for Minnesota Rotarians. A Rotary International site review team is visiting the Twin Cities for 3 days. That's because we're under consideration to host the worldwide 2029 Rotary International Convention. So let's unite and showcase the spirit of Minnesota and our Rotary enthusiasm on Wednesday, September 27th at the Nicollet Island Pavilion in Minneapolis. It's got the best views of Minneapolis bridges and the skyline. There will be hors d'oeuvres, a cash bar, and live music from one of our own, St. Paul Peterson, who is the president-elect of Rotary Club of Edina. Registration is $25 and can be done through your own club or district website. Plus, there's plenty of free parking. Again, that's Wednesday, September 27th from 6 until 8 p.m. at the Nicollet Island Pavilion in Minneapolis. Come early at 5:30 and help greet our guests. So wine, dine, and mingle with visiting international, state, and local dignitaries on September 27th as we push for Minnesota to host the worldwide 2029 Rotary International Convention.
For decades, eradicating polio worldwide has been Rotary's cornerstone cause. We are incredibly close to ridding the globe of this virus, but we need everyone's help to get us to the goal. World Polio Day is October 24th. Please consider making a new donation to Polio Plus or increasing your already generous giving. Go to endpolio.org to be a part of this historical eradication of polio. You will help get vaccinations to the most remote parts of our world and help fulfill a promise we made to end polio now. 2 drops and it stops.
Are you ready to make a difference in your community? Rotary is a great place to get involved in your community and meet passionate groups of people, as well as individuals dedicated to service and fellowship. At Rotary, we believe in the power of teamwork to bring positive change. As a member, you will have the opportunity to participate in exciting projects that address local and global challenges. From supporting educational initiatives to environmental conservation, we tackle it all. Joining a Rotary Club means becoming part of a diverse family of individuals who share a passion for giving back and having fun while making positive impact. With projects and events that enrich your community, there's something for everyone, from local initiatives to international collaborations. It doesn't matter what culture or country you come from. What matters is that you want to belong to a group that strengthens communities and creates lasting change. There's a place for everyone at Rotary, regardless of age or background. Learn more by searching for a Rotary Club in your community and visiting. Together, let's make a difference. Rotary, people of action.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build good? Will it better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? When we pay it forward, it will be returned.
Join Rotary to serve your community and the world with honesty, fairness, and goodwill. Our 4-way test guides our actions every day. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? These values underpin our commitment to making a positive impact on the world. Learn more about your local Rotary Club and stop searching and start serving. And the song you're hearing right now was performed by the Rotary Club of Saskatoon, Natuna in Canada.
When we pay it forward, it will be returned.
Hello and welcome back to Searching for Service, brought to you by Rotary District 5950 and 5960. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Joe Kirk.
And I'm Chad Larson.
As a reminder, you can find us on your favorite podcast platforms, and
we like 5-star reviews, likes, and sharing.
And you can look us up.
There you go.
By putting in Searching for Service.
On your favorite podcasting platforms or YouTube.
Yes.
It's so nice to have 3 people here. We can just boop, boop, boop. You got that? You got that? Okay, perfect. If you're tuning in for the first time, it's very unfortunate because we've had an incredible guest on by the name of Jon Cermin. He's a media producer and owner of Cermin Production Incorporated. I want to pass it on over to you, Joe.
Well, I always like the last segment. We talk about the future, and a lot of times we talk about the projects that we've discussed on the show, Rotary, maybe your role and what you're doing. So why don't we just start with that? Like, let's just dream for a moment, and you can just take it away and say, what does this project look like to you?
If it goes through.
If it goes through.
Yeah.
I get kind of emotional when I think about this, but if it goes through, there will be hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians who will be able to go back to their homes and not worry about being maimed or killed. They won't worry about their farm animals or their pets being maimed or killed, and they'll be able to live in peace and in safety. Right now, that's far from reality. People just can't go home because it's just too dangerous.
And these are the things that we, we're all very much aware of what is happening in Ukraine, but not details like this, and the severity, like truly the severity of it, and the continuous impacts that are happening for individuals or families who are like, I want to go home, and they can't because, for these purposes too. It's just wild to me.
Well, I mean, it's the Russians' versions of slash and, like, they used to do the slash and burn of all the towns, and so that nobody would populate them, and it's their version of doing it.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Yeah, when we were at the meeting, there was a young lady who I believe is now the president of the club, and she showed a little video she shot on her phone where she and a friend, actually two friends, shuttled an ambulance and an SUV to the front lines of Ukraine. Lviv is on the far west of the country, and all the war is on the east side of the country and the north part of the country. But anyway, it was heart-wrenching because they drove through community after community that were just shot up, and like the community sign just being shot to pieces. I mean, what purpose would that serve? And she said that they had to drive straight through both ways. They could never pull off to the side of the road to take a break, because if you pulled off, you could get blown up by a landmine. And as another side note, the reason they took an ambulance is the Russians specifically target ambulances, which is against the Geneva Convention, but they specifically target ambulances because they know that they can get a driver, an EMT, and 6 soldiers in the back with one missile. And they go through, I believe it's 6 ambulances every week in Ukraine. So they have a dire need for ambulances. And we're not talking about the fancy kind that we see with the neon colors and the flashing lights. They just use box vans and sprinter vans with 6 welded racks in the back to carry 6 soldiers. But they still get targeted. And it's horribly sad.
It is. I mean, I'm at a loss of words, actually, hearing some of that impact, and it's just wild to me.
So as you know, we're getting towards the end here. Obviously, we'll find out more on the 16th on the program, and well, not on the program, but on the drones. People find out, and then after that, we'll send out updates. And you're hopeful, you think, within 2 weeks that this may come to fruition, 2 to 3 weeks, or what's the best case and what's the worst case on if it does get approved on as a humanitarian? That's
a great lead in here. I've been told twice in emails that the letters are going to be signed. This was both times on a Friday. The letters will be signed either today or Monday for sure. Well, those 2 dates passed. The last date was last Friday. And then I was told this morning by someone that I actually believe and trust that the letters did go out yesterday to be signed by the ambassador in Washington, D.C., the Ukrainian ambassador, because he has to approve this whole project before it can go to Rotary. And apparently it will take 1 week for that ambassador to review everything, do the legal stuff, and then finally put a signature to it. And once that happens, then it'll go to the Rotary president. That process, I'm guessing, could take a week. I don't think it's as simple as just saying, hey, I'm going to rubber stamp this. I think it's got to go through the board of directors, and it's got to go through legal to be vetted by them. So we're looking at probably 2 weeks before it becomes a Rotary project. And at that point, the floodgates open, and we need to get moving with all this. And I guess the unfortunate thing for me is I'm going to be in Zimbabwe from the 14th to the 24th. So there's a possibility when this happens, I will be out of the country and unable to do anything. So
hopefully you've delegated that to somebody. So something I just thought about, John, sorry to interrupt, is when this becomes, a Rotary project, that's us, being futuristic. Have you considered going to the manufacturers directly? I mean, they've got to have excess surplus of these types of drones that are no longer viable.
Well,
or I don't know if there's just an easy software.
Honestly, I don't think that they do. And the reason is you can go on Amazon and find, my old Phantom 2 or Phantom 3s, for $400 or less. And manufacturers, they want you to buy a brand new Air 2 or a Mavic or whatever. They don't want you to buy an old technology drone. In fact, it may be illegal for them to sell something that's not remote ID equipped, knowing that that's going to come out. I mean, you'd be really ticked off if you bought an old Phantom 2 and then found out you couldn't fly it.
Oh, yeah.
So, and these drones are all, I think I bought one of them in 2018 and two of them in 2019. And the last one I bought in 2022 or 2021. So, back in the old days, no one was even thinking about remote ID. So, and some of them may not be flying anymore. I mean, who knows? But the manufacturers aren't going to help you buy an old drone. They want to put you in a new drone.
Yeah.
So we have just a few minutes left, and hopefully my question isn't the last question, but my curiosity is when you went to this Rotary meeting in Ukraine and found out about what this high schooler had done for the drone footage, was there any conversation or numbers statistically on like how that can like
shrink the time period?
Shorten the amount of time it would take to clear all of those mines out from Ukraine?
Yeah, Kelly, that's an awesome question, and that is a very important question. And I think it'll have a huge multiplying effect on clearing the landmines, because think about, how many Rotary clubs there are across the United States. If you just had Rotarians and just 4 people from each club went out into the community with the drone, think of how quickly you could clear a whole community, this way. And, we're hoping that we collect enough drones that we have thousands of drones, so every community could have 15 or 20 drones. And, the Rotary Club there in Lviv is going to train the people on how to do the mapping and how to hand off the maps to the people who do the mine removal. So, the more we have, the faster we'll clear Ukraine of these horrible mines.
I mean, I got to imagine the magnitude of the help is.
It cut down to a couple of years out.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be pretty significant,
right? And the other deal is, the government's so worried about, are you going to weaponize these old prosumer drones? The common people in Ukraine want to go home. They don't want to send a hand grenade to the front line that may or may not hit somebody. They want their front yard cleared of landmines.
Right.
So they desperately want these for landmine clearing. They don't want to send one hand grenade over the front line.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea that this is truly a humanitarian program, is irrefutable. Yeah, someone could hijack a truckload of drones and do that, but they really, really, really want their lands to be free of landmines. And they know how many have been seeded, and they know how many decades or centuries it's going to take to do it. So the more we can send them, the much better off they'll all be.
Absolutely. And we're so glad that we were able to tell this story, and
we'll get updates out as we learn more.
Yeah, we'll get updates as we definitely hear more.
John, thank you so much for taking time. I'm glad that we were able to get you on here quickly to spread the word and share the information about the impact that the drones can have. And so thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on your show.
Thank you for tuning in to Searching for Service. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Joe Kirk.
And I'm Chad Larson.
You can. It's time to stop searching
and start serving.
Thanks for listening.